and they are falling out of the ring fast.
I don't envy the referee in these matches. It's a very, very tough position to be put in.
I don't envy the guys who have to call the match. Jake Something rolls over, and now Jake Something showing that strength. Running right through Grayson and Rollins.
Yeah, you might as well try to clothesline a building. Jake Something is just that big and strong.
Double axe handle to the back by Gene. Clubbing forearms to the back of Something. I remember last night, Raja working on that left arm of Something, but this time Something able to avoid the leg lariat. That time he was not.
Great move there by the young man from Ottawa.
Trevor Lee in the ring, and Trevor Lee with the Manhattan drop. Forearms, the former NXT North American champion, lands on his feet, rear waist lock. Rolled, looking for the O'Connor roll. Gene hung onto the rope, but unable to hang on after getting crushed like that.
Trevor Lee is what we call in the business a wrestler's wrestler.
Yes, he is. And now, speaking of old school wrestling, Psycho Mike is all about the body slam.
People chanting for it.
Oh, but Lee able to escape. Eats a back elbow, forces the break of the grip. Big boot to the face by Lee.
Psycho Mike reminds me a bit of the legendary Don Leo Jonathan.
Had a chance to visit him in the hospital before he passed away. And man, insane action here. Wow, incredible leap there by Alex Zane, giving a little extra sauce to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. A one-man wrecking crew. And a jumping, diving, swanton bomb into the corner by Alex Zane, but here's Stu Grayson.
Stu Grayson, great striker, excellent athlete.
Oh, stinging knife-edge chop by the sauce Alex Zane. Fearless competitor.
Zane is aggressive and he's nasty.
Oh, beautiful Frankensteiner there by Grayson. And a standing drop kick by the highly athletic, born and bred for combat, Stu Grayson. Oh, Senton Atomico to the outside.